good for the soul to be out beneath these mountains and, you know, breathing in some decent Welsh country air.
I think the nicest thing about having written and recorded this album is that pretty much from the beginning it's just been I've kind of known more what I was doing. Like last April, I knew when I was still in New York, I knew that I was writing for a new album, and I also had been out on tour a little bit, you know, playing to something of a fan base. That's not to criticise the fan base. That's because I feel uncomfortable saying that I have a fan base. But it's been really nice to be out there and having people come to my gigs, and you know, yeah, I guess I felt like with this album I've had more direction. I've known that there's a point to me making another album, and it's been quite nice to have been on that journey from Snowman, from living in New York, moving back to England. All the various things that happened have created quite a nice journey, both physically and sort of musically.
'Cause we're still in the same world, and we're still looking at the same sky. And you take what you want, break it apart without a thought, pulling the pieces from my heart. Who are you now? I guess you are who you are. I held you too high and you dropped the ball. I need to run, well I'm as good as gone. And if you're mine you could be anyone's. I'm no good, it's understood, you gotta play it your own way. I've got nothing else to say. But that said, it's rolling through my head. Well, I'm here now and I made my own bed. But sometimes you're just better off playing your own game, 'cause there's no one else to blame. City to coast, of course, my hands are tied.
I had the song "Watch Me Fall Again" kicking around for years. Actually, it's the oldest song on the album by far. I wrote it just after I left Razorlight. Actually, I wrote it when I was in Razorlight. I wrote it in Berlin when I was in Razorlight, trying to learn how to write songs post having written America. I was trying to write songs. I couldn't kind of break out of writing songs that were just called Germany or France. But I wrote it in Berlin, and it kind of just got lost. It got kind of lost. I didn't really know how to do it. It just didn't sound, wasn't sort of packing its punch. And then Tom Smith heard it, and he said that this is when we were doing the Smith and Burrows album. He said that he'd like to have a go at sort of knocking it into shape, so he took it away and wrote the middle section, and then it became what it is now, which I think is something really beautiful, and it's amazing to have him on there. Album title "Fall Together Again" is a lyric from Any Major Dude by Steely Dan. It's actually it's my manager who pointed out that it would be a good idea for this album. It's sort of, album titles are hard sometimes. Sometimes they're just there the whole time that you're making. What was there with this album was more a colour. I just couldn't stop thinking of the colour blue, probably because of my Wurlitzer. But I couldn't think of an album title, and I wasn't going to call it Blue. And that lyric was suggested to me. I just thought it was brilliant. I thought it had everything in it that felt like all the songs, that felt like what's been going on. It was just, just when something fits, it's the best. It's the same with a song. When you start to write a song and it just fits with itself and fits with you. And I felt like "Fall Together Again" really just worked. I'm excited about it. It's a proper title.
Spaghetti bolognese and apple crumble.
I think the kind and most appropriate word for the studio is rustic. It's it's full of charm and character. I've never done a residential recording session ever, so I was definitely really interested at the prospect of coming away and not being able to go home at the end of the day. And you can only do that. You can only really do that if you're with people that that you can kind of cope with for that amount of time, because actually it's as with touring or anything, or with most things in a band, it's all quite unnatural. You know, you don't tend to spend the amount of time you spend with the people in your band, even with your other half. It's quite bizarre.
I'm not gonna lose my way. All this I've heard before.
I'm not gonna lose my way. All this I've heard before. Now that you're calling out and towing a different line, saying you know how you were so wrong all of this time, how it all means so much to you, long as everyone's eyes on you.
When Your Ship Comes In was the only song on the album that sort of halfway through recording I was like, this song's not there. This song's not going to make the album. I just couldn't write any words. I was lying in bed at Bryndervan for fear of our lives because the hurricane that wouldn't stop, the kind of 4-week-long hurricane that rocked Bethesda in North Wales, just that was keeping me awake. But also the other thing that was keeping me awake was the fact that I couldn't write any bloody lyrics for this song, which I'd had kicking around for a while, but I just couldn't write the verse lyrics because it's quite a fast-moving song and it's got like quite a rolling piano part that needs the lyrics to kind of like bounce off, and I just couldn't come up with it. And it was great. It was a really great exercise in kind of like forcing yourself to be at a point where you've got to. Because I think I've recorded it up. The band loved it. Steve, the bass player especially, was like, "Oh, this song's my favourite." And I was like, "God, I don't have any lyrics," but I couldn't bring myself to admit to the band I didn't have any lyrics. I was like, yeah, it'd be cool. I'll come in and breakfast, and then we'd do breakfast, and then I'd be like, yeah, you know, it's more of a tea time song or whatever. And then it'd be tea time. I'd be like, oh, we shouldn't record this song this week because it's just not the right, you know, the weather's not right. And then it got to the point where I was like, okay, we're gonna go home and we're not gonna have this song. It does sound brilliant. And you know, woke up one morning and just had it. And again, like I was saying before, that's always the most exciting thing. Either when something flows and comes easily, or when you're just up against it to the point of embarrassment.